There's a wealth of imagination shown in an art exhibition forming part of Bulawayo's Youth Week. We've often applauded the standards reached by youthful artists, and we're perfectly prepared to do so again. The 10 to 12-year-olds seem to be content with the wide open spaces, but the 8 to 10-year-olds, well, they took a flyer into outer space itself. A charming plaster figure was exhibited by Miss Olive Young, who teaches art at the Railton Primary School. Well, it appears there's virility in art, and there was certainly virility in the float procession which got the Youth Week festivities underway. Bulawayo stepped out, high, wide, and handsome. There's a subtle but reasonably rapid change coming over the relationship between youth and age. Youth is taking the helm much earlier. It's a good thing youth seeks new ideas, even if they do consign old-fashioned ideas to the ox wagon. But if nothing else, old-fashioned ox wagon thinking gave Bulawayo its lovely wide streets. So put that in your space helmet and smoke it. Bulawayo City Hall is the scene for a unique ceremony, the installation of the new Lady Mayor. The retiring Mayor, Councillor Miller, congratulated the incoming Mayor, Mrs. Margaret Brett, on being the first Lady Mayor Bulawayo has elected, and he handed over the reins of office. Following the robing ceremony, Mrs. Brett took charge of the meeting and made her first speech as Mayor. Mrs. Barham is the new Mayoress, and the Deputy Mayor is Councillor J.G. Payne. In Blantyre, the Governor, Sir Robert Armitage, opens Nyasaland's museum, housed in a converted and renovated boarding house building. Tremendous credit for this enterprise must go to the museum's enthusiastic curator, Mr. Peter Hannay, who converted the building and, with the assistance of an African taxidermist, Victor Rome, has assembled a really worthwhile and varied collection. The emphasis lies on the history of Nyasaland and local folklore, and includes exhibits of birds and animals. There's a refreshing attempt to escape the dinginess of old-fashioned museums so as to arouse immediate interest in younger people. It's hoped that the people of Nyasaland will keep the museum flourishing by subscribing as members and adding to the collections. Turkish tobacco is usually sun-cured in racks and covered with polythene sheets to protect it. Although the accepted method, curing is slow and subject to weather changes, besides which it's laborious. The polythene needs replacement, and losses occur through sweating, rain, and hail. Faced with these problems, a Salisbury farmer has come up with a travelling dryer system. No polythene, and crops curing in the sun can be whisked into a permanent shed at the first sign of rain or hail. It's not only tremendously labour-saving, but the inventor Peter Roscoe has found curing is 25% quicker, the whole growing cycle is earlier, and the thing pays hands down. The Rhodesia Harness Racing Association is doing all it can to get owners interested in training trotters. It's big business, of course, in Australia and America, and it's an enthralling sport. Serious racing can't start until 50 horses are in training, and they're still well short of their target. Lusaka joins the Federation towns, which can now enjoy their own drive-in cinemas. It's the easiest way of taking the whole family for an evening's entertainment, and some people let the infant sleep in the back and avoid babysitters. The present capacity is 300 cars, but provision has been made for extensions to take another 150. Though small by other standards, Lusaka's drive-in is one of the most up-to-date. First-class equipment has been installed to get the best out of first-rate films. The sound, of course, is piped right into the cars, and with the absence of audience distraction, it's as good as a private showing. It's a wonderful form of entertainment, but we're blowed if we're going to show you the picture until you've paid your admission. A special train brings VIPs to the opening of the Nyasaland Cement Company's clinker factory at Changalumbi by His Excellency the Governor. And there was a bouquet for Lady Armitage. The factory produces clinker from limestone, the raw material for the Portland Cement Factory in Blantyre. Sir Robert Armitage described this £600,000 venture as expressing confidence in the future, and the plant produces 10 tons an hour. The southern province of Nyasaland was visited recently by Their Excellencies Lord and Lady Dalhousie. After lunch at Lunguni House, they wet a line in the dam on the government estate in the Fort Lister Gap. They say there are fish in this dam, but we understand Their Excellencies still remain a little unconvinced. The Glennie School is a junior school catering for children of the Cholo district. On their arrival, they were greeted by the headmaster, Mr. Dennis Dunn, who showed them around. They have a wonderful way of putting people at their ease, and it was a great moment for every one of the school's 40 pupils when they breezed in like a ray of sunshine. They are blessed with an easy and friendly way with children and were quick to gain their confidence. As parents themselves, they were keenly interested in what was going on in the young minds around them. It was a memorable interlude for the children, the sort of thing they'll remember for the rest of their days. But their main impression will be how very nice and human distinguished people are. Their next visit was to the Chisungu Tea Estate, where the manager, Mr. MacArthur, pointed out the beauties of the surrounding area. Watching the actual picking, Their Excellencies were impressed, as all visitors are, by the dexterity with which the choice young leaves are removed. He was equally impressed with the high quality of the tea which Nyasaland now produces. St. Andrew's School in Blantyre was the next stop. We spotlighted this school a couple of years ago, and since then its enrollment has risen to 320, nearly 3 times the number attending when it became a high school in 1958. Their Excellencies were the first to sign the school's visitors book, the final action in a visit which everyone hopes will be repeated in the near future. Lord Dalhousie featured as a reader of fairy tales at the Asian School in Limby, and his audience were enthralled. Education of all races is a top priority throughout the territory. Answering the lure of the lower Shiri River, His Excellency had rough going trying to come to grips with some tiger fish. But alas today, if the fish were biting, they must have been dining out. However, even if the fish didn't please, the scenery certainly did.